I am Vinnie Rich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent when you start this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. It's the Friday show. She's been in here before. As a matter of fact, she was here recently, and I just couldn't get to all of it. So I said, please, 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 doctor, come back again and again and again, because this is a subject that I will never tire of. People love it when I talk about, eat low carb, eat NSNG, you'll lose weight, blah, blah, blah. That's all very important. But I care about people's health. And more, I hear about stress. I hear about kids and stress. It just doesn't end. And most of that stress is coming from this 2x4-inch piece of glass that people walk around with every day. And I know I'm starting to sound like Gran Torino, but I have Miss Torino that's showing up to help me try to nail it home. Folks, she's back here by popular demand. I'm talking about Dr. Lisa Strohman. Yeah. How's it going, Lisa?
It's going great. Solving the world's problems day by day.
Well, how's that working out for you?
I go to bed tired, but I feel like every day, I start my day. I think we've talked about this before. I start my day with an intention before I touch any technology. And then at the end of the day, I simply ask myself, did you leave this world a better place than you found it this morning? And I think pretty much every day I can say yes to that. So every day is different, but as you said, there's so much to do. So,
Yeah, that's starkly different from me. I wake up every day and I feel like I'm going to piss in the ocean and try to get it to raise by 2 feet, and it just never happens, right?
oh,
And I've had these conversations with people like Nina Teicholz and Gary Taubes and everyone else. It's like, we've been yelling and screaming. I have like 3,000 hours just on my podcast. That's not counting the 100. But I'm one of the few people that's been on Adam Carolla's show over 100 times. Um, Adam and Drew, God only knows how many times. Mike Rowe, everyone. I've been there, and it's like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like I'm yelling into a void,
hmm.
right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, black hole, it's Vinny. I'm here just to yell again. Get my big megaphone. But for some reason, you have a much more positive spin on it than I do at this point. But we both wake up every morning and go, let me try again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read something the other day, and we're going to talk about, kids and how much you should limit the cell phone use and everything else. Back, I want to say a year ago, back in 2025, maybe it wasn't even a year ago. I want to say it was Australia that made it illegal for a kid to be on social media before their 16th birthday. Does that sound right to you?
Yep, absolutely. First country that did it.
Has any other country done it?
Now there's many that are falling in line. Sweden, I think that there's like a Arab, like an Arab nation that's done it. So there's like several that are falling in line, but they don't have any mechanism and they didn't have a plan on how they were going to enforce that. So it's been, the UK also did after they called it Australia 1.5 or 2.0 or something like that. But the problem is these kids know how to get around it. And so what it's pushing us into is we have to verify someone's age because now we've got these delineations of age, whether it's 13 or 16, it doesn't matter. But the way that they're doing it, and Vinny, this should terrify you, but they're doing biometrics. So they're literally turning the cameras on and grabbing every digital biometrics, personal identifying information of these kids, and they're pulling them into now even more databases and even more nefarious places where people can take that content and take advantage of our kids.
It just, whenever I saw it, I said, you know what? A couple of things. Number one, there's no way to police this. You know, but number two, which is more important than number one, I think the parents are going to just help the kids cheat around the system because it seems like these parents do everything for the kids, right? And it's like, oh, I don't, you know, hey, mommy, Larry's mommy did it. Oh, okay, here's the code. Here we go. Go do your thing. I don't think it's going to stop anything, right? Again, this is
Well,
me being the pessimist here.
yeah.
You know, so the
I think
question
that
becomes,
yeah,
go
it's
on.
learned helplessness though. I don't know if it's parents that the helplessness is like, and I think I sent you over an article, but there's a research program that went on and it looked at all of the platforms and it looked at how many of those parent uh, devices, the parent safety features that they have built into them, over 60% of them are failing or missing or not working. And so you have to think about, like, if you're a parent and you're being told, yes, your child can go on here, we're going to make it safe, we're going to put these mechanisms in so that we've got a child safety feature, and then they stop working. At some point, you become helpless and hopeless. Like, what am I going to do? And it isn't the one time; it's the mom, can I have it? Mom, can I have it? Mom, can I have it? Mom, and then finally, these parents are like, yeah, go away, go. I'll turn it on for you. And so that's, I think that again, it goes back to the design issues in these places. And I'm telling you that I'm super excited. On a future podcast I will announce, but we just submitted a patent that I developed. It's going to change this for everyone, that
Really?
literally is creating a trust infrastructure layer that will be ubiquitous among everyone, and it will solve this problem. But right now, every single platform is on their own to try to figure it out. And they have, every single one has different measures and different mechanisms. And so it just, as a parent, you cannot keep up. And so unfortunately, like, the kids are basically out, out in the middle of this online world without any protections in place. And it's crazy.
The new generation is coming up. And, I just looked at that note that, that article you just sent me, and you're right, 60% of advertised child safety features failed independent tests. And then the second thing you sent me was AI and recommendations algorithms can become a risk multiplier. Before I ask my question, what does that mean? A risk
It ba-
multiplier?
So basically, like, you've got a child developmentally that is insecure, lacks confidence, isn't sure where they fit in the world, and you can developmentally follow that child. But in your world, particularly, the algorithms basically take that naive child and they multiply their insecurities of their bodies. They multiply their insecurities of their looks. And so you have, like, what is, for me, a terrible scenario where you basically amplify that beauty looks one way. And if you're not that, then you're not okay and you're not good. And so we have massive amounts of anxiety, massive amounts of eating disorders, and it is completely skyrocketing. We've never seen the levels this high before. So that's what I mean by amplifying. And it's a risk multiplier, because normal children will, if presented with this content over and over again, obviously are at risk of developing these conditions.
Yeah, I'm not really understanding. And I don't mean any of this to sound like a joke, but I'm just,
Mhm.
they always joke and call me Gran Torino. And every time I leave the house, because I work here for myself, I try to leave the house and go do other things. I try to be out in the community. So, owning a coffee company, and yes, you will get your coffee. Don't worry. I like to try other coffees. Like, I like to see what else is out there. Might give me some ideas. And there's a roaster. I'm not going to mention a roaster, but there's a roaster here in town, and they roast on the premises. But it's also, you can go there and drink a fresh cup of coffee, take some of their beans home. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And they got kids working there, right? I don't mean this to sound disparaging or anything else, but first I look around and the kids are pasty white, like they have never seen the sun, right? Like Dracula is working, at these coffee shops. there's no musculature to any of these kids, male or female. They look a bit blobby. Not completely. I'm not. I don't think there's any morbidly obese, but soft, too, just kind of succulent. Like I said at the beginning of the show, they don't look healthy. And I shouldn't make these remarks, but I will. The hair is never of any color you see in nature. And there's multiple piercings where you never saw piercings before. Just leave it at that. When I walk up to the counter, I realize that I'm everyone they hate because I'm their parent who kicked them out of the house and said, if you want to keep living in this basement, you have to at least go get a job. And this is where they ended up. I've done that math, right? They're stuck there because the parent said, you don't go get some kind of job, you're out of here. They can't communicate. If you ask them a question, they just stare. I mean, think about that. Did you ever work retail or work somewhere when you were a kid?
Yeah, of
Someone
course.
asks you a question. It's like, hey, Lisa, where do you guys keep the blouses? Oh, right over here in the blouse section or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you would walk them over,
Mm-hmm.
right? Doesn't happen at this coffee shop, right? And
There's
it
even a
makes
term for that. It's called the Gen Z stare.
really. So I'm
Uh-huh.
not the only one that's noticing this.
Oh no, CNN had me on to talk about it. Like it's a problem where you've got people that just literally stare at you like that and they don't answer your question. Like you're the one who's the idiot or you're the one that should already know what that question is. So
Okay,
it's
now Lisa.
you should look it up. Gen Z stare.
Okay, hang on.
It's a
I'm not
real
going to look
thing.
it up. I got the doctor right here. Okay, I I'm going to tell you a scenario. This actually happened at that coffee shop about, let's call it 6 months ago. I sometimes buy their, because they roast them right there. I buy their fresh beans to come try them out in my espresso. Like I'm a coffee nerd, right? I
Right.
have one of the real espresso machines, not like an espresso. The kind, it's
Right.
like chemistry going on. You know the deal.
Yes.
All right. You want really fresh beans in those things, right?
Hmm.
So once you roast a bean, you want it to off gas for about 24 hours. That's when you want to case those beans. And when I buy those, I get 1/2 a pound. And I usually don't even finish that because a few days later, I deem those
Old.
gone. Yeah, like you're not going to get that same good cup, right? When you got to grind it even a little tighter, it's like, okay, these are done. These are dead
Hmm.
beans. It's not the same as, when you roast and you sell, like we sell beans within a week. That's great for drip. That's great for pour over. That's great for iced coffee. Espresso, you want to be on it, right? So I walked in there one day and the girl, the look, right? She says, I said, hey, I would like 1/2 a pound of this roast. And she was very kind. She goes, anything else? And I said, that's it. Name, Vinnie. This is all of the transaction we've had. I have a frequent flyer card, right? Like if you go there 12 times, they give you a free bag. So I waited until I paid, but then I handed her my card. It showed that I had 10, she marked the 11th thing on there. I said, hey, I got some beans here about 4 days ago and already, they were already dead, from day one. When did you guys roast? She goes, I don't know. I said, 4 days ago, do you have a roasting schedule? I know they roast. I don't know. I said, yeah, these beans, I didn't even get a good head on my espresso. Nothing. And then she just stood there and looked at me. And I stood there and looked at her. And she looked at me. In my mind, I thought she was going to say, sir, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I noticed you're a frequent flyer here. Let me get the manager. Or how about 1/2 a pound on us? Or would you like a free espresso? Something. She just stared and stared and stared. And then I got embarrassed and put my card in my wallet and walked away. Right? She literally won, right? Because I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go, hey, I'm not that guy. I'm not going, hey, you owe me a free thing of coffee. You screwed me. I'm not that guy. I just thought, hey, if I'm nice, maybe you could call the manager over. We could talk about something here. But I got the stare.
Nor did she ask the roasting schedule. She could have went to say, let me find that out for you.
Nothing. No, she wasn't. Her job is to check me out, and that's it. Take his money. They don't even take money. You touch a thing with a card.
Right.
And then 2 nights ago, my wife was still out of town, so I was on my own for dinner. I go to this place. It's literally called The Local, and it's pretty local to me. And I know I could get a good piece of fish there. I called them. It's Sunday night. It's about 7:40, and I said, "Hey, I can be there in 10 minutes. You guys got a table? Absolutely. Come on in." I get there. The young girl, kind of like the same girl I had before. There's no one left in the restaurant. There's just, like the wait staff and everything is hanging around the bar, having a quick drink, talking to each other. She walks me in the back into another room. It's like a wine room. I never even knew it was there. And as she's walking me in there's like 3 other couples. She sees the waiter walking out, and she goes, "Hey, I have one more for you." And he does this. He goes, and I looked at him and I said, "Dude, I'm right here. I'm the one more." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's like there's no decorum. They don't care that the customer is right there, right? And then I left
Social
him.
etiquette.
Yeah, I left him. I felt so bad that this was the only kid still working. My bill was 20. I left 40. It was like I should have. I'm a screw this guy. And it's like, no, he served me. I got my piece of fish. It was $22. I left $40. Okay, but they don't realize they're in the real world when they make these comments anymore. They're living in fake world. Yes, no.
Well,
Tell me about this air.
it's like a duplicitous world, right? There's things that they can do online through these little tiny tidbits of information. Like if you think about how Snapchat works is, you record a 1 second like picture of yourself and then send it. And it's like hundreds, if not thousands of those over and over again. And so their normal cadence of conversation isn't the same. Their ability to manage those conversations in real world scenarios is gone because that's not how they communicate anymore in their world. So there's kind of like their world and the real world. And I think that's, people used to call it offline, online, kind of different real life, online life. Like, but they just generally don't have the social etiquette or the skill set because they've completely stopped using it.
Okay, so we've talked about this part before, but I'm going to go back to it again. Is this why these people can just grab a gun and go out and shoot and kill people because of this disconnect? What people, they play those games all day. They might not be playing those games, but if they have no connection to the real world, you can put a bullet. You can shoot at the president. You can put a bullet in Charlie Kirk. You can stab a girl on a train in the neck and kill her. I mean, these are all recent things that I've seen, right? It's like, and what's going on, Lisa? What am I missing?
Well, I mean, imagine if you sit in front of a TV. This is where your analogy of like taking care of yourself, working out, eating well, moving, water, sleep, all of the things is similar to your brain. So if you sit and scroll for what we know now, the average between 8 and 10 hours a day is the average for teenagers and young adults, that they're going online for that much time and they're getting harmful content, or they're getting viral circulation of content that's dangerous or off-putting, and that's what they're feeding their brains with hour by hour by hour. then you're completely breaking down. The brain is a muscle. And so you can actually see, and I talked to Dr. Amen, who owns the Amen clinics, and his wife Tana was on their podcast. And when we talked about it, they were asking me, and I was like, they know that you lose the neuroplasticity, like you basically lose the white matter and gray matter. It starts to deteriorate, just like our muscles do if we don't use our weights. And you also lose the neurochemical advantages of having serotonin and dopamine, because that dopamine reward pathway starts to erode. And so now you've got these kind of very like disabled brains in some ways from you overusing content, and then that content that continues to spill in is more easily manipulating them into their daily behavioral lives. So that's generally the pattern.
Yeah, there are situations right near me, right here. I live in a small kind of enclave, a small neighborhood. Most people are. I'm maybe. We're not the youngest couple, but at 63, 64, we're not the oldest. But there are a lot of people about our age, and they have kids in their 30s. They're still living at home in the basement, no job. They look zombie-like. There's one girl. She looks pretty capable to be able to work. She doesn't. There's two boys, two brothers right down the street. And then there's this guy that shows up at my gym, and usually I can profile people pretty good. I've always said, oh, I can profile people. I can't figure this kid out. He can't be more than 20, 21. He's driving an expensive car, meaning a BMW M4. Those are not cheap,
No.
right? That's like a six-figure car. Um, he comes in the gym. He looks unkempt, a bit more than disheveled. The hair's not combed. Doesn't look like it's
Hmm.
been washed anytime recently. Um, and I can't even imitate what he does, but he walks in and he goes from machine to machine. He'll do one set and then he'll sit. I can't do it because I have too much arthritis in my neck, but his
Mm.
head goes down on his neck and his phone is in his hand and his head just rests on his neck and he doesn't move. The head doesn't move. It reminds me of, when you see these heroin people on the street that they're tweaked out and they look like
Hmm.
a stiff, what is that called, Lisa? I don't know what that's called.
The fentanyl fold is what a
Yeah.
lot of people call it. Hmm.
They're just stuck. They look like a statue, just bent over and
Hmm.
over.
Yeah.
This guy goes into that kind of trance with the phone.
Mm.
And not just me, but other people my age, because he comes in with us in the middle of the day with the people 63, 64, 65. And we all notice it. We all talk about it. He will get on one machine and it could be for 30 minutes without moving a muscle, just staring down at that phone. I guess his thumb is moving and moving things around to see what he wants to see, but
Yeah.
what is that? I mean, if he's doing that at the gym, what is he doing when he's not in the gym?
Yeah, the last time I went to the gym, there was a kid on the leg press, and I love to do a leg press, right? Gets all the good muscles, and he just sat there on his phone. He's like sitting back, I get it. It's like kind of a comfortable position, but it's like he's not rotating out. If you need to check your phone or do something, rotate off and then let somebody else use it and work in, right? There's no working in, there's no there's no even acknowledgement that the world around me exists. So, I mean, that's the power of those algorithms and how they're designed to create compulsive use. And that design is what is getting them in trouble because it is intentional and it is creating this massive like world of people that cannot set it down.
The scary part is in 5 minutes, these people are going to be running the world, right?
Hmm.
We're going to be too old, and this is what's coming up. Look, I'm already seeing, with buddies whose parents need, in home help and the whole thing. And
Hmm.
the help is not really the help anymore. And I'm looking around going, well, if that's what they get, how bad will it be when we need help? Will it
Right.
even exist? Right? I don't think anyone thinks in that term,
Yeah. Well,
right?
it's the other thing that's happening is that, everybody's kind of focused on content moderation and working at like what is it that's feeding their brains. The other piece that's happening is that the oxytocin levels, I think we touched upon this last time,
Yeah.
are starting to reduce. So the psychological impact of not having a hormone that helps you bond and care and have empathy for another human will strategically change the way that everybody operates with one another in the future. And that's the part that you're touching upon.
Yeah. I want to get into something completely different because you wrote me
Okay.
a note here. Child safety is more than content moderation. But before we do that, Villa Capelli, folks. Villa Capelli olive oil is the best olive oil on the planet. I'm not just saying that because they pay me every month. I'm saying that because it's true. We talked about this company long before we had them on the show. Listen, I can send Dr. Strohman all of my coffee, all of my vitamins. I'm giving her the workouts. I'm giving her everything. The one thing I can't give her for free is Villa Capelli. But you know what? If she wants to go there and save 10%, she, like you and me and everyone else, she could put in promo code Vinnie and save 10% every single time she goes to Villa Capelli. Go check it out right now. Villa Capelli, promo code Vinnie. We're talking to Dr. Lisa Strohman. Lisa, let's get into the child safety and the content moderation. We started with that a little bit. That seems
Mhm.
like there's so many holes in the dike, we can't plug them all. But what talk about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, so there's mainly these 6 areas. So you have to look at like the harmful content, right? That obviously everybody knows that dangerous contact with others. Like who are your kids going into these rooms with or communicating with? And I got lit up, and everybody on whatever social channel it was that I posted and said that I think that guns are more dangerous than, or guns are less dangerous than these devices because it's where you put your energy and your time and you trust that it's a safe environment, and everybody attacked me for that. But it's who you're putting yourself, that dangerous content with others you don't know, and then harmful conduct. So you think about like predators and pedophiles and individuals that are out there trying to scam elderly, take images of kids and extort and blackmail them. There's commercial exploitation that happens, and that's basically trafficking. They're pulling in images and various content, or even actual children who get abducted, and nobody wants to talk about that. Then you have the viral explosion of content where everybody wants to go viral, right? And so if you go viral, now all of a sudden you're successful. Well, a lot of times going viral means that you stood on top of a train going in New York City, and all of a sudden you get hit, hit a pole or whatever, and you die. So a lot of those are very, very dangerous. And then we've talked about kind of that compulsive platform design where it was intended to create this ongoing compulsive use over and over again.
Okay, Lisa, I can't be the only one that's going to ask this question. This might be the dumbest question I've ever asked, but here
No
goes.
dumb questions.
I know what TikTok is. I know what Instagram is. I know what Facebook is. I hear the term people are in these rooms. I don't know what a room is. Explain. I've never been in a room. I mean, that might sound crazy, but I don't even know how to find a room. And that sounds, you know what I'm talking about on the
Yeah.
internet.
I think that sometimes it's a general term, as that like when you enter stream of internet or online content, that there's different areas that you can go to, different websites, different platforms. And so I'm using that world kind of generally of like, as a parent, I'm not going to drop you off at a house that looks like it's burned down on the outside and let my child go in and play. There's very similar areas in the internet that are basically, and I'm using that as just a descriptor, like a room that my child can enter. But there are actually real rooms. So like the best example I can say is Roblox. If you go into Roblox, there's 40 million plus different games as a part of a Roblox system.
Or spell that
Uh,
word for me. Are you saying
R
road?
O Roblox, ROBLOX. And Roblox is and I talk about this in my presentations all the time. There's areas that you can go, there's people that design individual games in there. So there's 40 million different games. One of the games of recent that we saw was Epstein Island. Another one was Diddy's Paradise. They create these games you can go in that basically create opportunities. And quite honestly, often they have actual rooms. You can open up a door and go inside and shut a sliding door and be in a room with some unknown stranger that's in there. And I've seen multiple children with their little avatars getting digitally or representatively taken advantage of in those environments.
I, because it's in the news, and I hate to even mention Trump on the show because people have just this kind of reaction to him. But the guy who shot at Trump, that wait,
Mm-hmm.
hang on, am I thinking of the right guy? Oh no, no, I'm sorry, they killed that guy.
Mm.
You see, I can't even keep up. All right, so it's the Charlie Kirk guy that got away,
Is
and
in.
then they
Mm-hmm.
caught him, right? And they said, "Oh yeah, he he got radicalized within a very short period of time, and it was on a game platform." Are you familiar with this? And
Mm-hmm.
I thought a game platform meant you went and played a game. How do you get radicalized? How do you go from being normal to wanting to shoot someone from a game platform? Explain.
So, oftentimes when you're a gamer, you'll use a platform called Discord. I think that's the platform. I'm not familiar if that's the one that he was on, but Discord, for instance, is like a ongoing thread that has individual servers. So if I'm playing a game, with Vinnie and we're in this, Roblox or Minecraft or whatever it is, and we're on Discord, we communicate through that and create our own server system. So it's like a kind of a private chat that we can all join on this platform called Discord. But if you think about some of the names and the different servers that are available on there, oftentimes they're representing a very clear ideology through them, and it's unfortunate, but you have groups that are in there and they're basically propagating misogyny, or they're propagating hate towards whatever group that you want to mention, and it's easy to identify and go into these groups and get radicalized very quickly, because now you're in an echo chamber. You're in this group of people that you didn't know before, and they start to validate the thing that you might be curious about, and you go in and you start having conversations with these people, and then they like basically make you feel like everything that you thought was actually absolutely true. And now you've got this radicalization and this psychological manipulation going on, and that's how it happens.
So how do these people get to know each other? So I've been on. Is Reddit considered a room? Is that a room if you go into
Well, Reddit
Reddit?
has threads. Yeah, like a thread would be like a room, right? You're on a thread with certain people and you go into a thread that you all want to be on together and share comment and conversations about.
Okay, so I guess people that belong to my VIP group, that's a room where they can all
Yeah,
discuss.
essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, but on Reddit, like, I never thought Reddit as being a room. It's just ubiquitous because if I'm looking up something on the internet, the top thing might be Reddit. The person has the same question as you, and it usually dissents pretty quickly, right? It's like
Hmm.
person asks a question, and then everyone's got the wrong thought or opinion pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Um, and then you go away from Reddit and you go look for it somewhere else. Okay, there's that. But how does, let's say a 12-year-old boy walks into a room digitally,
Hmm.
how does he end up being trafficked? How do, how do they know where that kid is in the world? How do they know? Because people get stolen from or am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. Absolutely right.
Okay, how does that happen? I can't figure out how to turn this thing on, much less. You saw 10 minutes. We tried to figure out why your mic wasn't working before the show. How
Mhm.
does this go on? What am I
And
missing?
so you're looking at vulnerable populations, right? Like, and if, I see teenagers in my practice a lot, but, you come in and I've got this, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and they're like, I met this friend online and they're so great and they do this and this and this and they always know how I feel and they want to support me and they tell me my parents are bad and my parents should be doing this and they're not doing that and da da da. So there's a lot of parent alienation that starts to happen, and then they start to convince these kids that they're living in this, like, you know basically a tyrant's world under their parents, and that they should really, like, think about, like, getting out, and they could come pick them up and they have these better things that they could go and do. And so, my response to kids that are of that age, I was like, you're not that interesting. Like,
Yeah.
you're a hormonal, developing child. Like, why is it that you have the interest of this person at such a level? Let's think through whether or not that's really another 12 or 13-year old, because they're not that sophisticated, they're not that
Right.
smart to be able to go in and do that. So how do we educate the kids to understand and then look at predators and look at when they're being preyed upon, so they can either traffic them in real time where they're asking to meet them at a park or run away or do whatever, or they can actually traffic their identity or their images. So, they fall in love, they feel very safe, they start to do little pictures, then they send a naked one. And then the minute that they send a naked one, they're owned. And they're like, if you don't do that, I'm going to tell all of your friends, oh, I know where you go to school. And they literally have already gone into their Snapchat, Instagram, and they're already immersed in this child's in total ecosystem. And so when they say that they're going to send that picture, 9 out of 10 times they do send that picture. And that's why our suicide rates are at the highest they've
I
ever
was about
been,
to say, how do
because
these kids not kill themselves? So
they do.
suicide.
They do.
God,
Yeah.
where did I see not long ago where this girl went to bed? Were you telling me this story, or did I see this on Dateline or one of those shows? 2020.
Yeah.
Girl, told her parents good night, went to bed, and the whole thing, and then just went in her room and killed herself. She
Yeah.
because she had this whole
Happens
secret
all the
life.
time. Hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens. It happens far too much, Vinny. And I think that it goes back to, if you looked at, we just had on the 24th, we had social media safety day, like, that was recognizing the children that are lost. And hundreds of thousands of parents went to the Capitol to represent the children that have taken their own lives. At the same time that we've got big tech knocking on the back doors and secret rooms of legislators saying, we've got a lot of lawsuits coming against us. If you could just create a rule so that we're not in trouble anymore. It's insane. It's insane the way that the system is working right now. It's very frustrating for someone like me.
So when you're out there and, we talk about, you know, child safety is more than just content, harmful content, dangerous contact with others. We really, really, really are behind the eight ball, and we have no way of fixing this right now.
Right now, but I'm telling you that the only solution is going to be a very bold total restructuring that must occur. And the group that hired me to come in and advise them and is helping to create this infrastructure layer is not only going to save for minors, it's going to help protect seniors, it's going to help protect disabled individuals, it's going to help protect, like, we have to take the power away from big tech. And I think that, truthfully, big tech will applaud the relief that they don't have to keep programming and creating more and more safety features that aren't working anyway. Right? Take that away from them and create a different system so that we actually have something that they're not responsible for, because none of us trust them anymore. But it also gives them the freedom to focus their energies on developing and creating better programs and products and things like that, instead of
Sure.
trying to solve this problem for parents. So, I'm not letting them off the hook for the history that they've done, because I can't. I've been invited to those funerals, but I will, in fact, create solutions moving forward that will alleviate that and create a better system long term.
Until those solutions come around, where can
Mhm.
people go right now? Let's give them a little hope on the way out here. Lisa, where can
Yeah.
people go right now? Can they get in contact with you? Can they go somewhere else? I know you have this thing that's coming out. It's not ready yet. Where can people go today? Because kids are going to die tonight.
Yeah. Well, they can look at asklisa.com. I have programs and educational content and parent resource centers and everything for parents. The solution, the infrastructure solution that's going to be a technological solution, that's we're less than 6 months away from that being live. But if they want to follow and get resources and help, go to asklisa.com and write me on the platform, and I will answer and help.
Listen up, folks. I I've been doing this podcast for 14, 15 years now, and here's the deal. People listen to me when I tell them what to eat, how to stay off of an operating table, how to not have type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, how to get rid of sleep apnea, how to be healthy again, how to lose hundreds of pounds. But we have young kids dying right now, right? And I was joking about the girl earlier that just stared me down, but you know what? She's part of that whole deal. She's on that spectrum, right? That poor kid can end up like that. Your kid, there's somewhere you can go. And Lisa's working night and day. That's why I'm going to keep having her on, because what's the use of trying to keep people alive with their physical health if their mental health is killing them? We have to fix it all. So go check out asklisa.com, and she's going to keep coming on. I won't let her off the hook. She's got to keep coming back. This is too important, Lisa. It really
Hmm.
is.
Yeah,
By the way, I had a great time with your friend Amy the other day.
she's fun.
My new best friend Amy. I love her.
She's
Yeah,
great. I told you you would.
yeah, yeah. We were like two peas in a pod. Yeah, she would start a sentence and I would finish it. We were like in love. That's
Yeah, she told me we have to do a road trip.
Yeah. Hey, kicker
Yeah.
boy, you better watch out. I'm coming for your wife. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You go punch a little football. You watch.
Right.
Folks, purevitaminclub.com. We're getting rave reviews. What I've done there, ever since I took my company back and started running it myself, not only is it bigger and better than it ever was, I started looking around going, you know what? I still have purecoffeeclub.com, but I brought it over to purevitaminclub.com. You could get it all right there. Then I looked around and went, my friend Anna Vocino, she's got all these great spices. She's got the gravy. She's got the puffy cheese. I went, bring Anna's stuff on. Before you know it, like now, that hook, that Aletha hook I was talking about on the show a couple of weeks ago, everything is on purevitaminclub.com. Guys, when I find something that works, I need to tell you about it. This is not hyperbole. I was in a lot of pain. My lower back was killing me. I used to have the pain that came and went, but about 2 years ago, it came and it never went. I went to doctors, specialists, and of course, all they want to do is cut because, well, that's their job. I tried every snake oil product on the market, and then I found something called the Aletha hook, another snake oil product, right? How could this thing possibly help? Well, I got it in the mail. I tried it and I had almost instant relief. Now, it wasn't magic. Because I had that almost instant relief, I tried it again the next day and then the next. Within a couple of weeks, I had forgotten that I had back pain. Within a month, I started doing things I stopped doing, right? Like I haven't done a back squat in the weight room for about 2 years. I'm doing back squats again. Think about that. Rowing. When I was rowing, I was always in pain. I just assumed that was my life. I almost quit my beloved kayaking in that beautiful kayak I built. Not anymore because I started using the Aletha hook, but I didn't just do that. I got their book also, and I learned all of the exercises and I started doing the stretches, and it works. Go try it for yourself. Go right now, VinnieTortorich.com/hook. VinnieTortorich.com/hook. Get your Aletha hook, and you can transform your back the way I did. And good luck. I've become like a mini Amazon. We call it Vinnie's on. Go check it out. Yeah, Vinnie's on. As a matter of fact, Debbie, who she works for, she goes, you got to stop calling it Vinnie's on. I said, why? She goes, Amazon's going to come after you. It's like, no, they can't come after me. How's he going to come after me? It's my name, Vinnie. What? He's going to go after the Amazon forest after that? Where does it end? He's not worried about me. Guy's a bazillionaire. He's over there with this puffy-lipped wife. Yeah, go hang out with her with your big biceps. I'm over here with Vinnie's on selling good stuff, folks. Go check it out and check out everything Lisa Strohman is doing. Dr. Lisa Strohman, she's at asklisa.com. Go there right now. Let's see if we got other music to go out on. How about that? On behalf of Dr. Lisa Strohman, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with Manfred Mann.